7 years ago, I wanted to ride a motorcycle so bad, so bad. But when I finally got on one, I was terrified. I mean, so much so I even failed my motorcycle safety course exam the first time through. But now, 7 years later, I have ridden cross country on this beautiful girl, well, 2 continents to be exact. If I can conquer my crippling riding anxiety to ride cross country solo, you can too. I promise you can too. Stick around and I'll tell you how. Yep, that was me 7 years ago as a baby rider. I wanted to ride a motorcycle so bad, and I knew it was gonna be easy. But as soon as I got into my training class and threw my leg over the seat, I froze. I'm talking, I bombed that class the first time through. It was so bad. The anxiety I felt getting on the bike, especially that first time, was so bad I almost didn't go back on the second day. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to handle the bike, that I couldn't counterbalance, that I would end up hurting myself. And that anxiety was so strong, it just froze everything. Sound familiar? If you're feeling fear, doubt, you're not alone and you're in the right place to find out how. All right, first off, if this is what you're feeling, you're normal. I know normal's a setting on a dryer, but you are normal, especially if you're trying to learn how to ride later in life. I was 45 when I took the class, but you want to know the most important thing I learned in the whole process? I learned that you have to refuse to give up. I know I refused to give up. If learning to ride a motorcycle is truly what you want to do, commit to this process and believe in yourself that you can learn these skills. Second, and this is huge, your first bike should never be your dream bike. Because let's face it, you don't want to start on a big, heavy bagger, 800 plus pounds, or that powerful, sleek and sexy sport bike. Neither of those is a good decision for a first-time bike. Really, if you're wanting to look for something, you want something that's a lighter weight bike, a little bit smaller CCs, something that you can really manage in flat foot. Some great starter suggestions. Honda has several models. Rebel, Grom, Shadow, Monkey. Those are little bitty ones. Those are kind of cute. But Harley has a couple of them as well. You've got the Nightster and the Sportster S. These are smaller bikes that are much easier to handle. The whole purpose of your starter bike is to build your confidence in your skill level. Build your skill on a smaller one and then build your way up. And some people need it, 6-8 months, you're good to go. Others need a couple of years before they build that skill level to handle one of these more bigger, powerful bikes. And if you think these were good, hang on and stick to the last one because it's the biggest tip I got. And now let's go back and talk about the safety training courses again. I failed the first time I went through. I'd never been on a bike before. I had to build that confidence. Don't be afraid to do it again. Take the course, and if you don't pass, that's okay. Practice, and then go back and take it again, whether it's a second or even a third time. Both the Motorcycle Safety Foundation, the MSF, and the Harley Riding Academy both teach the fundamental basics of riding motorcycle that really will make a difference as you get out onto the real world road conditions. It just makes a difference. If you're interested in either of those, I've dropped some links in the description below. And to add to that, for most of us here in the States, one of those tests, one of those classes is required to get our endorsement. Go and do the research and double check what your state requires so that you know exactly what you need to do to be able to get that endorsement. And if you live outside the US, every country has a different set of rules and regulations. So take the time and research what your country and your particular state or province require. All right, I know this one sounds silly, but it really makes a difference. Build a relationship with your bike. Spend time with it, name it. Seriously, crazy thing. I have my very first one, I had Bob. I have Scarlet. I also have Ranger. I know it sounds silly, but it's crazy, it works. Yes, I know Scarlet's green. That's another story for another time, I promise. The point of all of this is that when you build a relationship with your bike, you really start to see it as an extension of you, extension of who you are, and not the enemy. And it's crazy how much that when you do this, there's a shift in your mindset. When you spend time with your bike and you know what it looks like, you know what it feels like, you will find that you've got greater confidence when you're out on the road, especially on those longer road trips. So far, each of these things I've talked about is one step has just built on the previous one, but promise, stick with me into the end because that last tip is the one that's the biggest. The next thing, practice. Practice, practice, practice. Find a big parking lot. This is your practice zone. And don't worry if there's people there watching, because remember, you're the badass on two wheels, they're not. And if they're standing there judging, they're just being rude. Don't worry about it. Spend the time and practice. Practice starting and getting your feet up as quickly as you can. This is a skill that will make a difference not only in your test, but when you're on the road, when you're having to make tight turns from a stop. Practice the friction zone in your clutch control. The friction zone is your power and your control, especially when you're controlling one of these bad boys at a slow speed. Have you ever watched some of those crazy shorts and reels where you watch these amazing riders on those slalom courses and how well they handle those big bikes? Those people have mastered clutch control in the friction zone, and that should be our goal as well. Practice braking smoothly. I didn't say practice stopping slowly, I said practice braking smoothly, because being able to brake smoothly will make a difference whenever you're out in the real world, and it will get you out of trouble more often than you think. Practice U-turns, gentle figure eights, and circles. Guys, even after 7 years, I still get out once a month and practice this. It is a skill, and it's like any skill, if you don't keep it sharp, you will lose it. Now, this is specifically for those who are preparing to take their test. This kind of practice, if at all possible, in the weeks coming up to your exam, practice every day, at least 15 to 30 minutes every day, or as much as you can. Because the more you practice, the more confident you will be, and the more likely you will be to pass that first time. Once you pass the test and you're feeling really comfortable in the parking lots, gradually move out into the real world environment. Start with your quiet neighborhood streets. Statistically, your mornings on a weekend are your best bet because that's when the lower traffic volume usually is. And once you feel good there, build slowly into more and more trafficked areas, heavier trafficked, and then eventually into your highways and your interstates. Just one more step and I'll share my biggest tip with you. All right, celebrate. Guys, it is so important to celebrate each and every win. Every successful short ride, every smooth stop, every successful U-turn, every little thing that you do and you feel more confident, celebrate it. It's not being a dork, it's not being selfish or arrogant, it's science. What you're doing is you're rewiring your brain to associate riding motorcycles with positive, affirming actions and experiences and not something to be feared. All right, and let's talk about this because this is a big one. Everybody's gonna drop their bike. We've all done it. Everybody has done it at least once. I'm not even tell you how many times I've dropped this bike. The point is, when you do this, you might have to work through the celebration wins again to rebuild your confidence because it does shake you. And I'm gonna tell you, anyone who goes, well, I've never dropped my bike, is either new to riding or lying to themselves and everybody else. We've all done it. So when something like this happens and your confidence is shaken, celebrate the wins, revisit this process. Because the faster you do this and the more you do this, the faster you're gonna be confident again and back on the road. All right, guys, y'all have stuck with me, and here it is, the biggest tip I have for you. It took me a couple of years to get confident riding these bigger baggers, say that 3 times fast, these bigger baggers and taking longer trips. In fact, the morning of the first solo road trip I took across country in the US, I almost chickened out. I get out there, I've planned everything. I've got my stops. I've got the things I want to see. I'm ready to go. I throw my leg over the seat and I panicked. I thought, what am I doing? Who am I? I can't do this. truly, it's gonna happen to everyone. Taking big steps like this, they're scary. The thing is, it's worth it, and everybody feels it at some point. We really do. Remember that learning to ride, growing into bigger bikes, growing into longer trips, growing into faster experiences. Some of you are gonna wanna race bikes. It all takes time, and it is a journey. It is not a race. You're not on a schedule. Enjoy the process of riding and becoming a rider, because before you know it, you're gonna be having the most epic adventures, meeting the best people, and doing things that you cannot even imagine right now. All right, so that was my journey and what I did that helped me become a confident and proficient rider. So if I, the girl who failed her test the first time through, and now 7 years later is riding these beautiful big bikes, riding solo across the US and Australia. If I can do it, guys, I promise you can too. Make the commitment and enjoy the ride, because it really is worth it. So for those of you watching, I got a couple of questions for you. Do you ride? If you ride, what'd you name your bike? And if you're thinking about riding, do you have any questions or need a little support to make the step forward into actually taking that final step and signing up for the course? And if this video helped you, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button so you catch more two-wheel content from my channel. Or if you know someone who is maybe not real sure or struggling in the early stages of their journey, share it with them. Now, get out and ride. When you do, have fun, be safe, and I'm gonna catch you on the next video. Bye.